Hello, everyone. I have Katelin with us today. Katelin, do you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Katelin Mallory. I am from South Carolina, but I currently live in Washington State. I have a husband and three beautiful children, 8, 4, and an 18-month-old, well, almost 2-year old. Uh, Hogan Jr. is our apert baby. Um, and we have a son and a daughter. The 8-year-old is our son, and our daughter is the 4-year-old, going on 14.
I know how that is. Emma is 3, about to be 4, and she has the same attitude.
Yes,
Very safe.
very. And we have a 2-year-old lap dog. So, yeah, we got a
Yeah.
dog
You
around
got
the
your
same time
hands
that we've
full.
got, yeah. We did not know that I was pregnant with Junior when we bought the dog. And
Oh,
so luckily COVID hit around the same time. That was, I was early on in the pregnancy stages. So I was able to sleep while our puppy at the time
nice.
was sleeping. She's a lab, very big now compared to when she was just a puppy. But yeah.
Yeah, we have a lab pointer, and he seems to think that he's a lap dog also.
Oh
And
my
you're like,
gosh.
no, dude, you're 60 pounds. Get down.
Oh, I understand that.
So, did you guys know that Junior had Apert syndrome before he was born?
Uh, Not necessarily. So, I went in for my anatomy scan around like 20, 21 weeks. It could have been 21 weeks. With, everything being so backed up at the time. And then I went in all excited, to see him in 3D.
Yeah.
And uh yeah, the ultrasound didn't look the way that they wanted it to. Um, they they kept saying like his hands were closed, or he had like a knife hand. In the military, I'm also active duty as well.
Oh
And yeah, but I'm also in the process of getting out among everything else that we have going on right now in our lives. But we use the term knife hands as like one of these things, and they kept saying that. And I just remember thinking that something was wrong, but they were like, oh, it could be just him being shy or something like that. But then the doctor came in, and he he just started listing a bunch of different genetic disorders that could be. And because I was alone at the time, because unfortunately my husband couldn't be there at that time, everything kind of blurred out. So
yeah.
they may have mentioned apert syndrome, but I do not remember 100%. Um, they asked me a few times, because right after that, I had to go in like every other week to get scanned, to check and make sure there wasn't any other, as they would say, deficiencies
Right.
um, wrong with him. And it was some that they were like potential, his ears sat low. Um, and then his right foot was turned in, so he could have issues with that, is what they were telling me.
Right.
Uh, they did offer the test where you would have to put the needle in your stomach. I
Yes.
was like, no. I I worry about losing him,
Yeah.
and so my husband and I decided to not do the test because of that. reason alone. So we monitored, well, they monitored him as he got bigger, and he was big. He was 8 pounds, 12 ounces.
Wow.
Um, which they thought he would have been like 7 pounds, 1 ounce, but he was always measuring big. Um, and so yeah, we didn't know until after I gave birth to him. And even that, thinking back, I should have kind of tried to listen
Yeah.
when they were talking to me, but like I said, everything was a blur for me. Um,
Well,
every scan was a
and when
blur.
you're going through that by yourself, because I presume that because of COVID, only you were allowed. So it going through that alone, it's very overwhelming. I can't even imagine trying to take in all of that information by yourself and going, okay, wait. And then trying to have to relay it back. And no, that would be difficult. Um, so I was looking at some of his pictures and you were
Mhm.
saying the knife hands. Did he have the spade syndactyly?
So I want to say he had the mitten hands, like all his fingers were
Okay.
infused together. Um, so we didn't know what to expect, and all of his toes except one toe is infused together as well.
And has
And his feet do not go inward like they thought.
well, that's good though. Is he walking or crawling or anything yet?
So, because of all the surgery he's had, there's been so many delays with that.
Yeah.
Yes, he do crawl, but he don't crawl as much as you would expect for him
Yeah.
to. And he crawls on his forearms. So it's a lot harder for him to crawl on the carpets because we have carpets.
Yeah.
And in our kitchen, we do have the hardwood floor kitchen, but um the other day actually we got him to crawl on the hardwood floor. He usually crawls in the living room and then he touches the floor in the kitchen and he's like and turn
Yeah.
around. And and yeah, the other day we got him to crawl on the kitchen floor, and I was like, "Yay,
That's
this is the most
awesome.
that." And as far as walking, he really do want to walk, um, but he's also having a hard time. Like he's not even sitting up without that support. We're still
Yeah.
working with that with his physical therapist all the time, and even when he do not have his physical therapy appointments, we try to do what we can. He loves his walker for sure. We'll put him in his little Batmobile, as everyone would say, and he'll just walk around the kitchen. And then our daughter's room also have like a hardwood floor kind of thing, and he'll go in there and bug her sometimes. But as far as like doing all those on his own without any support, no, he is
Yeah.
not doing that.
Yeah. Emma was delayed quite a bit as well because she had a bunch of surgeries. Um, so how many surgeries has he had?
He's had three, and we are actually in the process of getting ready for the fourth surgery. So his first surgery was back in September, and it was the first hand release surgery, which we thought it would have been the cranial surgery first, but since they didn't see anything too alarming to where he would have to get that done, we moved on to the hand surgery. And then April, yeah, April, he had his second hand release surgery. So far, he's had his pinky, his pointy, and his thumb separated on both hands. They will go back in to do a scan on his hands in a few months to see what is the next step, if they'll be able to separate the rest. And then in May, he had his cleft palate repair. So everything kind of just piled up on us so fast when we weren't expecting it to be like that.
Right.
Like he was trying to he was trying to recover from the secondhand surgery, and he had to get the cleft palate repair surgery, and that one was tough. And now the cranial surgery, I'm not sure if your daughter had to get that, but we're definitely worried and stressed about it because of
Yes.
all the things that they've told us to just be alarmed of, as far as like, this is what's gonna happen. And it's definitely gonna be harder than the other surgeries, is what they told us for sure.
So will he be having the distractors or will he be doing endoscopic with the helmet?
He won't have the distractors or the helmet. It'll be it's like a cranial frontal surgery.
Oh, the frontal orbital advancement.
Yep, that one.
Nice. Okay.
So, and we thought he would have, but they were like, no. And we would ask them all the time because of what I've seen all of you posting with the helmet and the distractors. And I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, what, like, what's going on? And they're like, no, he won't necessarily need that. So we're going to do it this way. And he goes to Seattle
Good.
Children's, and they're
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
They're awesome.
Are you guys close by?
No. No. It's, oh gosh. So it's so crazy. When I moved up here, well, when I got stationed up here, I thought I would have been in Seattle all the time to have
Right.
fun. No, I'm in Seattle to Seattle Children's all the time, and my husband and I do not like traveling there. It's a mess. So we're both from the country areas, and we decided to stick with that kind of route. So we live a good 2 hours from Seattle
Yeah.
Children's without traffic. If it's traffic, it's probably 3
Oh, wow.
or more.
I do
Yeah, it's
not
rough.
miss traffic. We were from Kansas City, Missouri, and we used to battle traffic, and it would take me an hour sometimes to get home. And now we're in a little town in New Mexico of about 40,000 people. It takes 10 minutes to get across town, even in traffic. And even though we have to drive an hour and a half to Lubbock, to Texas, to get Emma's medical care, still we don't have that traffic. I don't miss traffic at all.
I wouldn't either. Oh my gosh, I hate traffic so much here. So much. And it's even harder because of where he goes to daycare. Yeah, he's also in daycare. That was rough for me. And where we used to stay, it was close, but I haven't had time, not necessarily time, but once I know where I'm gonna be working, once I get out of the military, I'll be able to move him to a different daycare. So that drive is far. So we do a lot of driving here, and we do not like it. We do not like it.
Does he get his therapies in the home?
Yes, and that saves us
It's so
so much
convenient.
more of a trip. It
Yeah.
really is. He his OT comes here, his physical therapist comes here, and he's about to start his speech therapy soon. We wanted to wait until after the cleft palate repair, and once he healed from
Definitely.
that, to get him started with speech, because we do know that it will be a delay in his speech.
Did his cleft affect his feeding at all?
Yes. So when I had him, I had the emergency C-section, and he 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 had he had issues with breathing, and so they instantly put him in the NICU, and he had to receive oxygen. And from there, we didn't know about the feedings until the day after, and we tried the Haberman bottle. So he had a soft cleft palate. We tried the Haberman bottle and some other bottle that they gave to us to try, and it was rough. And then when we finally went to Seattle Children's, that's when they introduced the Dr. Brown bottles, and
Yes.
we were able to feed him better, and it was less time, that he have to sit there trying to drink his milk and stuff like
Yes.
that. It was so rough for us. I'm not sure if you had that issue with your daughter, but
So we ended up getting her a G tube at 16 days old. That was the only thing that was keeping her in the NICU. And so we decided we'll go ahead and give her the G tube and still continue trying to do the bottle feeding. But she was having the issue of her nostrils are completely fused. So she couldn't breathe. So she was struggling with breathing and sucking and swallowing all at the same time.
oh
And we
goodness.
tried the Dr. Brown's, and I think out of all the ones that we tried, she was most successful with Dr. Brown's. But she still wasn't successful enough to be able to eat by mouth until just recently is when she's really started eating by mouth. But the Dr. Brown's was definitely, I think, out of all the ones we tried, it was definitely the best one.
That's good. And I also want to add, he did have a feeding tube, and we struggled with the nurses because they were so, some of them, not all, were so like, oh, we need to put him on the feeding tube because he's not eating fast enough and he's not hitting those markers. And my husband and I kept trying to fight it like every single day. I don't even remember how long he was in the NICU. Like, I got released from the hospital and he was still in the NICU. I want to say
Right.
like 10 days. My husband said, he just told me. He was in the NICU for 10 days. Like, we spent Christmas. He was born December 2019. I
Oh,
don't know if I said
wow.
that. So we spent Christmas in the hospital.
Oh,
And my mom was down here too. And luckily, we got released before she had to go back home.
that's good.
And so she can spend some time with him. But yeah, we had a rough time getting him off of the feeding tube, and we basically sat down with the doctors and told them, hey, we want to try to feed him since we are his parents, and we're going to be the ones feeding him. We want to try it. We want to do all the feedings, and it worked.
And that's
It worked.
amazing. That is wonderful. And I love that you guys advocated for that because ours, they were supposed to continue while she was in the hospital. They were supposed to continue using the bottle and they stopped. And we were like, I thought you were supposed to be doing this. And because there was only certain hours that we were able to be there. And they had stopped using the bottle. And so when she got home, we started that up again. And it was just challenging. It was really challenging for that. But yeah, it's great that you advocated for that and you guys pushed and you were able to be successful with it. Did he finally get his out?
Yes. Once we started doing the feedings ourselves, that's when they finally took it out. Well, no, I want to say we were doing feedings, but they also were doing feedings. But they were like, okay, we're gonna take it out, and then once his feedings, slowed up again, because with the cleft palate, it's hard,
It is.
and so some of the nurses were just so impatient, and they were like, well, if he doesn't eat, all of this stuff, because um like I said, he was struggling with
Yeah.
it, and he would fall asleep
Yes.
during feedings because he would be using all that
Yes.
energy trying to eat. And yeah, they were like, oh, if he doesn't hit these marks, then we're gonna probably have to put him on the feeding tube again. And that's when we really started kicking it up
Yeah.
a notch. Um, and fast forwarding to now, um, his ENT doctor, who's super awesome, at Seattle Children's, he told us that how do you say it? Babe? It's like his nose is his nasal pathways is uh is narrow, and he do not receive enough oxygen through his nose. He breathes more so through his mouth.
Yeah.
So we're trying to transition him from sippies or from bottles right now, and we're still having a rough time with that one too
Yeah. It's hard when
because of his, yeah.
it's hard for them to transition.
Sorry, it was the
Oh, you're
delay.
fine. No, it's hard for them to transition from the bottle to the sippy. And, now we finally got Emma drinking through a straw. And,
Oh wow.
but some of those sippy cups they're hard to suck through.
So we bought a few different brands to try them out with, and there was one at daycare, the Nook sippy
Yeah.
cup. They were successful at it, but we're still trying to get him to use it. I had to open up the nipple a little more for the flow to come out, or the
Yeah.
juice or milk or whatever. Um because we realized that he was having a hard time trying to suck on the nipple and breathe at the same time, because he cannot breathe, or he don't receive enough oxygen through his
Right.
nose. So we're still struggling with that. Hopefully we find something that kind of works.
Have they talked about doing any kind of a nasal stent or a trumpet?
Mhm. So they're gonna go in with a camera or something like that, um, to open up his nasal cavity.
Nice.
So it wouldn't be too much where they would have to go in surgically to do all these things. But yes,
Nice.
they don't want to do that right now. They're gonna wait until after this surgery, and then we'll talk about that. But that's definitely something that I feel, well, my husband and I feel like he needs to,
Absolutely.
mm,
Absolutely. It's definitely, I wish that we had that option. They tried to put a bunch of things up there in his nose, and they just
oh
couldn't make it to
no.
about here, and they can't on either side. So she ended up with a trach. But the good news is that once she has her mid face, the trach gets to come out. So that's a good
Yay.
thing. So with the mid face, have they given you guys an age range of when they want to do that?
No, they haven't. I think their main focus is the things that they see that needs to get done right now, and then we'll visit that later on. But we already know it'll probably be like a few years from now until he'll
Yeah,
need the med face. Or if he'll need the med face, they're gonna base it off of how he recovers from this surgery, because we've asked them about whether or not this is going to be a multiple surgery for the cranial or anything
right.
pertaining to that. He also have this red. It's not a dot, but it's like something big that's red. in the back of his head. I want to say, I cannot remember if it's like something into it being infused or the bones or
Yeah.
something. Sorry, I'm looking at my husband trying to see if he
Oh, you're
remembers
fine.
too. Yeah. No, so the one in the back of his head right now. Yeah, his little raspberry. Yeah, but isn't it infused or yeah, so his veins are infused. I'm not sure what they want to do. Well, we know the skull is infused, but he they don't know whether or not they're gonna do anything with that.
Yeah. Is it, have they said anything about having a Chiari
So
or
what's that?
anything? So a Chiari is like at the base of where the spinal cord and the head come together. And
Mhm.
it's just where, um, honey, how do I explain a Chiari?
That's where the base.
So
the
it-
skull comes together, and instead of the
And-
flat spot, they round it off.
And so it, does it push, what is it? Does it push like the tissue down in there?
No, it takes the tissue and pulls it up, because you push it down into the spinal column, and then you've got all your nerves and stuff.
So yeah, so it'll take the tissue from the spinal cord area and push it up into the base of the skull, further where it's not supposed to be. But I didn't know if they had like said anything about that, or if it's just like a spot back there where where the vessels are fused.
Yeah. So they've never mentioned that.
That's
It's just infused. But that's definitely something that we're gonna bring up now that we know about it.
and I don't know, like I had to defer to him and be like, how do I explain this again? Because there's so many big words and things that I'm like, what else was I gonna ask you about? So they don't think he's gonna have to have the cranial vault, which is actually, it's a blessing, honestly, that he doesn't have to go through that. And just to do the frontal orbital, that's amazing. Did they give you a recovery time for that?
Yes, so technically they said it'll probably be like a week or two, but my husband is gonna take some time off just to be on the safe side.
Nice.
So he'll be able to just be home and stuff like that and recover for a little over a month. And we'll go from there. But yeah, it's honestly, like you said, yes, it's been a blessing. Like even the fact that he didn't even have to start with the surgeries that we anticipated on him
Yeah.
having, because the genetic doctor came in the day after I had him, and he explained to us, this is what he has. And of course, we did our research once we found out about APERT, and I was like worried. We both were worried, like, oh my gosh, this is what we prepared for it all. And once we went to Seattle and they told us like, oh, so this and this is gonna happen, we were like, okay, this is not what we were anticipating, but I am definitely grateful that he didn't have to go through that. But we've realized that every child is different. Every child with APERT is totally different.
They definitely are. I mean, and you have the very mild ones, and then you have the more severe ones, and you have the ones that are in the middle. And so it's great. Like the less surgeries, the better, for sure.
Yes.
So I think it's great that you guys don't have to deal with that extra step. That's amazing. What is one piece of advice that you would give to a new APERT family?
Ah, oh my goodness. I gotta think things through. I was mentally prepared for this question because I saw all the mom interview and I'm like, not good with interviews. Geez, what can I say? Because I feel like I'm fairly new as well. But one or few things that I could say is just take it one step at a time. This lifestyle is not gonna be easy at all, no matter whether your child has 1 or 2 surgeries within the first year, or way more. Just take it one step at a time. Continue to fight for your child. Be that advocate for your child because they need, they can't talk or anything for themselves, and it's okay to not be okay. It is
Absolutely.
okay to have your moments. I've had so many moments from the time I had him till even before the time I had him till now. Um, it's okay to have a moment to yourself to just let it all out. Because at the end of the day, everything will work out fine. Everything that is meant to be will be, and geez, I think that's it for right now that I
I
can
love
think
that.
of.
I love that. That's so true. And especially the it's okay to not be okay. Because I think all of us have that moment. And it's
Yeah.
definitely, it's a lot. It's a lot. Even with the milder cases of APERT, it's still a lot with all the appointments and all the therapists. So it can still be overwhelming.
It is. Just bring them. It's okay. He's in the mood. I know. Okay. So yeah.
Don't be there. All right. Well, thank you for talking with me today. And thank you for your service. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
How are you? I like your dinosaurs.
Oh, you're tearing up your dad's stuff. Okay.
Thank you so much, Katelin. I appreciate you talking with me today.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Oh, one other thing, does he have a blog or a website or anything?
No, and I applaud the moms who have them right now. But because my schedule is so hectic right now with me out processing his surgery,
Yeah.
and I'm in an internship and I'm in school, I haven't had the time to really post. I don't even post on social media like that. I feel so bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to be like,
Oh, girl,
everyone.
no, no, not at all. I just for the families that do have that, I want to make sure that I have the option to put that in the description box, so that way if people have questions. But no, girl, don't feel bad about that. Do not feel bad about that.
I do have social media. It's just my name, my Facebook. I do have an Instagram. I'm not necessarily on it, but I have it. I have a Snapchat. Don't post a lot, but I have it, and I have a TikTok. Don't post. But I have those other platforms as well. So if they want to reach out to me, by all means, please do. I know that there is a mom here. She just got here like a month or two ago that reached out, and I've been chatting with her. I do not remember how to pronounce her name, so I am not gonna try and jack it up on this. But yeah, any moms who feel who want to just talk, I am definitely available. Now, do I respond back right away? Sometimes I do not. But just know that I will I will eventually respond back to you. Like at
Awesome.
least the next day
Yes.
or the next hour or so.
All right. Thank you so much, Katelin. I appreciate you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I know it's
Absolutely.
probably jacked up with all the noise in the background. I was
No,
not
it's
expecting
fine.
that. I'm like, oh,
You're fine. No worries. I hope I
and
talk to you again soon.
I hope so too. And it's another thing I want to say is like, it's unfortunate that there isn't any thing on this side, or I know you live far too from all the major events, and
Yes.
I'm like, no, I kind of wish we could like find a middle that we could do
Yes.
these events at, for everyone to kind of meet everyone. So
That would be
hopefully,
amazing. Hopefully one day we can get there. That's my
for
hope as
sure.
well. So, all right. Well, I will let you get back to your day.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.